10 on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up here in the Big Ten in Week 5 of this 2021 season, and that's going to be between the Michigan Wolverines and the Wisconsin Badgers. Huge matchup for both these teams in Week 5. We got Michigan on one side. This is a team who's now in the top 15. And overall, I could see Michigan definitely winning the Big Ten East. I mean, the Big Ten East, for the first time in a while, is wide open. So we could see, I'd say, 3 to 4 different teams win that division right now, and Michigan is certainly one of them. But Wisconsin, on the flip side, Wisconsin's off to a rough start. They got a 1-2 record after September, and this could be a huge win for them in the first weekend of October. So that being said, we'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Michigan last week beat Rutgers 20-13, solid win for Michigan. And you may say, since Michigan had a close game to Rutgers, that Michigan is so-called overrated, which I have seen some reporters and analysts say Michigan is overrated because they had a close win to Rutgers. Rutgers, that is actually a good football team this season. We have not seen Rutgers be a very good team in a while, but I would not be surprised to see the Scarlet Knights in a bowl game at the end of this year. So, yeah, Rutgers, not a bad football team this season. I mean, they all overall are looking pretty good. So, for Michigan, not a bad win, 20-13. You got the win. That's all that matters, especially in a matchup like that. But Michigan is 4-0, 4-game winning streak, and they're ranked 14th. As for Wisconsin, they lost to Notre Dame big. 13-41 was the final score there. But that game was a lot closer than the score shows. We saw both teams, I mean, it was very close throughout the first 3 quarters, but then Graham Mertz decided to throw a few picks in the fourth quarter, which led to some big touchdowns for Notre Dame. And Graham Mertz, I said it in the community tab on this channel, he completely blew this game for Wisconsin. I mean, you can't be throwing 4 interceptions and fumbling the ball once. That's 5 total turnovers caused by him alone in this game this past weekend. Graham Mertz, he's got to fix that issue if Wisconsin is going to be a contender. And quite frankly, Wisconsin, this is a talented enough team to get to the Big Ten championship game this season. But with Graham Mertz playing the way that he did last week, there's no way you're going to be winning the Big Ten West. So Wisconsin, they're 1-2, 1-game losing streak. And it's kind of unfortunate. They've had a tough first 3 games. They also had a bye week in there as well in September, which, I mean, they did lose to Penn State as well. I can't forget about that. But yeah, Wisconsin, they really got to turn things around here in September. I mean, they don't have much momentum right now, so this would be a huge step in the right direction if Wisconsin can win this game. Speaking of which, will be on Saturday, October 2nd, Madison, Wisconsin. So the Badgers do have it in Camp Randall. Tough place to play. We saw Penn State come in and get the win. Who knows? I mean, this is at the same time, I believe, as the Penn State-Wisconsin game as well. It's at 11 a.m. Central Time. But, I mean, yeah, Wisconsin is a tough place to play, and that's definitely one of the big benefits of Wisconsin in this matchup is they've got it at home. Spread kind of has Wisconsin by 1, so it is a very close spread here. Over-under is 43.5, so it's expected to be more low scoring. And the ESPN FPI is going Michigan here, 69.1%. So Michigan is heavily favored in the FPI. Meanwhile, in the spread, Wisconsin's favored by just a point. So kind of an interesting take there. Series history, Michigan leads at 51-17. So Wolverines have had a long-term, very successful history against Wisconsin. But the win streak is the Badgers by 2. So Wisconsin has won 2 straight. Last 5, Wisconsin leads at 3-2 as well. So in recent history, Wisconsin's had more success. But in the long term, Michigan leads the series by far. Once again, 51-17. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. Michigan's got 40 points per game on average, 11 points allowed, 164 pass yards a game, 290 rush yards. So the rushing offense for Michigan's been actually very good so far this season. And they got for yards allowed, 171 passing, 133 on the rushing end. As for Wisconsin, 19 points per game, 21 points allowed, 197 pass yards a game, 203 rush yards. And obviously Wisconsin is always a heavy rush offense. Like, we haven't seen a very talented quarterback come out of Wisconsin in a while. I mean, Jack Cohn, he was a very impressive quarterback when he played at Wisconsin. Of course, guess what? He's at Notre Dame now. But for Wisconsin, I mean, Graham Mertz shows potential. We saw him last year in his first season as the starting quarterback. He played well, but this season, it just has been a different story so far. I mean, there are promising moments, but especially against Notre Dame last week in big games, we just have not seen that out of Graham Mertz. So, but for yards allowed, 187 passing, and get this team has only allowed 25 rush yards allowed on average so far this season. So rushing defense, obviously, with a stat like that, has been outstanding so far this season through their first 3 games. Here are your recent matchups for both of these teams. Michigan beat Rutgers 20-13, beat Northern Illinois 63-10 prior to that. Then they blew out Washington 31-10 and beat up Western Michigan 47-14. So, I mean, this Michigan team hasn't had a close game except for that Rutgers game, which Michigan led for the majority of the time. So, overall, solid start for the Wolverines. I expected that team to be potentially a contender in the Big Ten East, which they have been so far. Once again, I mean, Ohio State, they're not having the best season. This is the perfect season for Michigan or Penn State or some team to finally win that Big Ten East. I mean, Ohio State has won it for however many years in a row. This could be Michigan's year. Who knows? We could finally see Michigan beat Ohio State. I mean, I'm not saying I'm predicting that right now, but it's definitely possible. Michigan's looking extremely talented, and they've got a lot of upside and potential right now. But for Wisconsin, lost to Notre Dame 13-41, beat Eastern Michigan 34-7, and they lost to Penn State. That was a tough loss there. 10-16 was the final score there, with Penn State getting the win, which Penn State, they're now in the top 4, so do keep that in mind. Some key points for this one: Michigan, chance to get another quality win. I mean, they've had a couple of quality wins already, and Michigan could get up to 5-0 with a win here. And they had a close game against Rutgers last week, but rushing game has been solid without a doubt for the Wolverines. Wisconsin, brutal first month of games for Wisconsin. I mean, you have a bye week. I think it kind of hurts that you have a bye week in September. I mean, you're just trying, during your non-conference schedule, you're trying to build up some momentum. And, I mean, this Wisconsin team had a bye week, which can either go against you or it could definitely help you, which for Wisconsin, I mean, having a bye week before that matchup last week, I don't know. It didn't. Wisconsin just did not look very good last week against Notre Dame. But Graham Mertz, he was a big part of that. He's got to fix his turnover problem, or else Wisconsin's. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're playing Illinois or Notre Dame. If you're committing 5 turnovers, there's no way that you're going to win a game. So Graham Mertz, he's got to fix that. Rush defense has been outstanding, though, for Wisconsin. So that's definitely something to be praised on the Wisconsin end. But let's get to the prediction for this matchup, Michigan-Wisconsin. I'm going to go with Michigan here. 27-20 is my predicted final score. And this was a tough one here because you got Wisconsin, who's at home. Usually, Wisconsin is pretty tough to beat at home. And so that's why it was such a big deal for Penn State to beat them a few weeks ago. But for Michigan, I mean, it's going to be very close. I can see this game easily going either way, even though Michigan is ranked and Wisconsin is not. Like Wisconsin, this is a Wisconsin team that is still, even though they're 1-2. I mean, this is a talented Wisconsin team without a doubt. And if Graham Mertz plays well, I mean, this Wisconsin team could definitely get the win here. But I think this game is going to heavily depend on how Graham Mertz does. If he plays well, once again, Wisconsin definitely has a chance in this game. But Michigan has got a lot of momentum right now, and they're going to be tough to beat. And I think Michigan overall, once again, this is a team that I could definitely see winning the Big Ten East later on. So I'm going to go with the Wolverines here. They've got a lot to play for right now. 27-20 is my predicted final score. Probability 55% towards Michigan. So I do expect it to be very close, without a doubt. Wisconsin, I would not be surprised to see the Badgers get the win here. I just have to go with Michigan. This is a team who's got a lot more momentum right now. And I also trust Michigan and their quarterback a lot more than Wisconsin's. Graham Mertz, man, last week, once again, just a tough week. But the over-under is 43.5. I'm taking the over in this matchup, currently with 47 total points. So that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup, and I appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll catch you on the next one.